Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya Shri Saumya Kashisha Maheshwaraya Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya
Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratham Karunamayam Namami Chinmayan Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Letter 2. Om Narayana Smriti, Gangotri Tehri Gerwal, Uttar Pradesh, Himalayas, 1/7/1951. It is several days since your letter arrived at Uttarakasi and was duly received. My custom is to spend the Chaturmasya period at Gangotri. Perhaps you know, Gangotri is the source of Ganga, quite close to the Tibetan border. It is at some days since I arrived at Gangotri from Uttarakasi. The remoteness of the region, from the humdrum life of the plains, my natural indifference to external activities such as writing letters, if for such similar reasons letters from here are delayed, don't get worried, don't feel surprised, be assured it is not for lack of love. In late 1940s or mid-40s, Tapovan Maharaj felt not Uttarakasi, Haridwar was commercial. It's too commercial. When? Mid-40s. What is Haridwar today? In mid-40s, he felt it is too crowded, it is too commercial, I don't go there, except for Kumbh Mela. Please think of it. What is Uttarakasi today? So these places have become crowded. And what is Gangotri today, if you see? Probably 400, 500 cars go every day on the season time. 500, 600 cars traveling across, just think. So he was a man of silence, he was a man of solitude, withdrawn, happy with himself, reveling in his own, was never looking out for a companion, someone to be around him. He was alone. And even the disciples who came to him, he accepted a very, very few, handful. So when he says here, it is some days since I arrived for Chaturmasya, arrived at Gangotri from Uttarakasi, the remoteness of the region from the humdrum life of the plains, and my natural indifference to the external activities, such as writing letters, etc. He was just by himself that way. And for these reasons, letters may not come. See, those days you have to understand. People who belong to that era, you write a letter, how long do you wait for a reply? Today it is a matter of seconds you need to reply. And this WhatsApp particularly, whoever discovered that blue tick should be shot. They know you have read it. Why are you not replying? Instant. Let us, when we write to anybody, we had patience to wait sometimes 2 months. Particularly to Gurudev. He keeps traveling, so you expect. If he's within India, you want to write a letter, it will take 7-8 days. So 7-8 days he would come to this place, anticipating where he would arrive, you send a letter. Sometimes the letter reaches in advance, they keep it. So that's why you will find in Gurudev's letters, when I reached there, I found your letter waiting. He would write that, I found your letter waiting. Sometimes your letter reaches late, he has left that place. So then the letter chases him. The responsible people there post it to another center to go. So it goes around, and by the time it gets to him, probably it would be like 3-4 weeks. And then when he replies, it takes time. So we were ready, can you believe, waiting for a letter for minimum 2 months. And that too, and a person like Swami Tapovan Maharaj, that 2 months time and all would be like much longer time. So he says that remote being alone there. Now he comes to the point. That was just in connection. The liking for spiritual practices and the exercises therein should show steady progress. This is very important. The liking for spiritual practices and the exercises, sadhana, what we do therein, should show steady progress. Is your love for spiritual life increasing? For what it was yesterday to today, is it increasing? Do you like it more? What is your quest? Did it intensify for what it was yesterday? How much more you have this burning urge to reach God? It should be always on the increase. So he says, the liking for spiritual practices and therein, and the exercises therein should show steady progress. The ways of the mind should be watched and tested from time to time. This one exercise try to do daily. The ways of the mind should be watched and tested from time to time. With our mind, we will be honest. We know what we are, isn't it? What kind of a mind we have, we know what we are. So we must take a honest look at our own mind. Oh, this is how my mind is. This is what my mind is demanding. This is how the tricks of the mind are. We must become aware of this. In chapter 6, Krishna says very clearly, mind alone is your friend, mind alone is your enemy. That mind which is helpful can take us forward. The same mind can keep us in bondage for ages together, births together. So he says, the ways of the mind should be watched and tested from time to time. One must check up and see every year, every month, every day, how far one's exercises are fructifying, how far passions like love, hate, and vain thoughts are subsiding. This we need to check, and the way in which he says, check every year. What was your spiritual progress 2 years ago, and where are you now? We need to know about it. Not only 2 years ago, last month, this week, how much have I progressed? Continuous. So the best way to do this would be 5 minutes daily, end of the day. Choose 5 minutes daily, end of the day. Once we do this, we would be very successful. When you are retiring for the day, before you go off to sleep, just check how the day was. How did you respond today? How much of the day was seen through spiritual vision? How much of the day you spent through worldly vision? We need to do this introspection daily, because when we do this, we become self-aware. When I become aware of myself, then I would respond much better tomorrow. Because me being aware of what I was yesterday would be very helpful for me to practice anything tomorrow. So this instruction is something one should follow very closely. The ways of the mind should be watched and tested time to time. How do you test? How do you test your mind? Deny something which the mind demands. Just say, today you will not have this. Deny. Wait and see the reaction. Let the mind rebel. Let the mind demand, saying no. Time to time we must test and see how much self-control we are, how peaceful we are. When something you have denied, without it, how peaceful and happy you are. How dependent the mind is. Let us test that. So he says here, the ways of the mind should be tested from time to time. One must check up and see every year, every month, every day, how far one's exercises are fructifying, how far passions like love, hate, vain thoughts are subsiding. What kind of a world we are living in? Look at the vain thoughts which we have. And look at the values which we keep. Last month, in Canada, I was checking on the Twitter, one actress, Khyele, I am not sure of the pronunciation. That's her name, 18 or 19 years old. She had cereal with milk for the first time. A 19-year-old actress. And it was trending with 19,000 tweets. What world is this? Someone has cereal with milk and she posts it. For the first time I had milk and cereal. Trending. That's information. It is your life transforming message. What kind? I do not know how many people will go and like it. At that point, I couldn't believe this actually. 19,000 people immediately. 1.5 hours. That's why it was on the trending. Is this information any sense? 9th chapter, Krishna calls it Mogasha, Moha Jnana, Moha Karma Chetasaha. Vain thoughts, vain actions. How much of it we perform? Useless stuff. Vain thoughts, vain actions, vain desires. And very, very few parents are able to guide their children. These are useless. Be aware of them. What you call is cool, please check if it's cool or if it is useless. So here Swamiji is very, very clear. He says, how far passions like love and hate and vain thoughts are subsiding, and how much the mind delights in the thought of God. How much does our mind delight in thought of God? Are we happy praying? Are we happy doing japa? Or we check our watch when we do japa and meditation? Japa you're doing and checking the beads. Oh, not over still. Meditation now and then. Oh, it's still another 5 minutes I've kept for myself. Are you happy in your prayer? Very simple question, but please focus on it. We must be happy with our prayers. You must feel thrilled. When you meet someone, a friend or a family member or someone very close to you after a long time, how happy are you? Or something which you want, you never got it and you got it, how happy are you? In prayer, we must find that kind of happiness. That would make us go and pray again. We must find that joy. Prayer is not something you're forcing yourself to do. We must find that joy. Does our mind take delight in spiritual practices? Check, question, inquire, clarify, analyze this, and make sure the mind finds joy in spiritual practices. Why should it find joy? It should immediately get you peaceful. Number one. Number two, it is taking you closer to your goal. One more day, you are one more step closer to the Lord. That should delight. So he says, this question again is very important question, where he says, how much the mind delights in the thought of God. And then he continues, the main use of japa, dhyana and other modes of worship are to win God's grace and the resultant purity of mind. Purity of mind means cleanness and peace of mind on the cessation of its mischievous activities arising out of attachment to the sensuous life. The main use of japa and dhyana are the modes of worship are to win God's grace and the resultant of purity of mind. Japa, dhyana, other spiritual practices which we do is to invoke the grace. There are certain things which we can do with our effort. Self-effort can give us certain things. There are certain things which is not in the realm of self-effort. Realization, for that matter. We can only put an effort to get the mind to a point. We can only put effort to stop desiring unwanted things. That can be done through self-effort. Once we arrive there, beyond that we can't do anything. We have to wait. We have to wait. Till then our self-effort is there. There you wait for it to happen. To that point we can get there through our self-effort. Dropping of thoughts. Dropping of desires so that the thought flow is reduced. That's all one can do. And try and keep quiet. Make the mind silent as much as possible. But beyond that, it happens by the grace, not through our effort. Going to sleep, you drop everything and you wait for sleep to happen. We don't go into sleep. Sleep takes over. So this much effort we can put and we wait there for it to happen by itself. So regular prayer, puja, japa, etc. is to win God's grace And what should it result in? It should result in purity of mind. Purity of mind means mind is not oscillating, it is getting quieter. The flow of thoughts, the speed of flow of thoughts have to reduce. That is purifying the mind. When we say antakarna shuddhi, there is a speed in which the thoughts are moving. That flow of speed, the speed in the flow of thoughts should reduce. It should calm down. There should be peace. That's why when we do japa, do it very, very in a calm mind, peaceful. Do it leisurely. Don't ever rush a japa. That exercise is no use if you rush. You take it up and go on chanting fast. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. No use. Don't rush. It's an art. And the purpose of it is to slow down. The purpose of it, the use of japa is to calm the mind down. The mind is rushing. Thoughts are scattered. They are going in a big speed all over. The purpose of japa is to get that down, calmer, calmer, calmer. So the japa itself, if you rush, what is the use? That which has to make things calm, and we are using that tool for speed. Japa has to be chanted softly, slowly. And more important in a japa is to see the gap between two mantras. We're chanting, there is a gap. If at all we get there, it is in this gap we will get there. Because behind the thought is the Lord. If we get there, it is here we will get there. Between two thoughts. That's why there can't be anything more closer than the Lord. Between two thoughts, He is present. But the speed is so much we are not able to see. If it can be reduced. Between thoughts there is a gap. We can catch that gap, we will have a glimpse of Him. He says that the main use of japa, dhyana and other modes of worship are to win God's grace, and the resultant is purity of mind. All this we do is to get that speed low, purity of mind. Purity of mind means cleanness and peace of mind on the cessation of its mischievous activities arising out of attachment to sensuous life. We went once to Amarnath Yatra. 10, maybe 15 years back, or even more, probably 20 maybe. And it was a large group, so some walked for 2 days and some took a pony. And Amarnath is in Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir. And that's a sensitive area in India. Continuously something or other happens there. So the army has to keep in control, otherwise the yatris can't be safe. There's a few nation-sponsored terrorism happens there. So the Indian army has to be very, very alert and do the job. So we went up the yatra. And when we came back, There are a lot of people coming down. The horses, the ponies, which were kept in one place, was taken away. They shifted. Army said this has to be cleared. So everybody knew this is the place we have to come and we'll take our pony. But for some reason, army shifted it another 500 meters away or something. And the army doesn't allow the pony guys to come and wait where we were. They said, you stay there. Some security reason, we do not know. They must have got some information. So, as a group, we came down and saw where the horses have to be. Horses are not there. The man who rides the horse, who takes you across, he is also not there. A lot of people were absolutely disturbed. And finally, you have to go find out. Someone says, further down, you go that side, it is there. You reached. So when we reached, there was a fight between somebody there and this horseman. They were arguing loudly. He says, why you should have stayed there to tell me, and this and that, he went on. And that horseman was an Afghan. They come there for livelihood. It's an Afghan. He looks at this devotee and he asks him this question. You went to the temple, right? You found peace? Think of that question. You went, you had darshan for which you came all the way. Are you peaceful? When we heard that, just imagine the reaction for everybody, like saying, what? We can pick up lessons from anybody, and that question is valid. Do you come to Amarnath daily? How rarely you come to Amarnath? How rare. And after such rare times, once in a while you go there, you have darshan. What is your peace of mind? Small things can irritate us down. Even after darshan. Even after going to pilgrimage. You go to pilgrimage, you do your prayer, you do everything, and next moment, look at the mind. Small things. And some people who do not know how to meditate, and if they take up to meditation, it is complete suppression. Suppression for 20 minutes. Now that person comes out of meditation. Don't be anywhere around for your safety. Slight variation of sugar in the coffee is enough for the roof to come down after meditation. Otherwise, tolerance. Otherwise, there's tolerance. Oh, fine, okay. Now, suppression, 20 minutes, bust out. Prayer, puja, japa should take us to calming us down, should lead us to peace of mind. When we do this, the mind should feel delighted and we should be calm, quiet. So it's a very important question. You have embarked the spiritual journey? Yes. Yeah, obviously all of us will say yes. Are you happy? Dangerous question. Are you calm? Dangerous question. Are you little more peaceful than what you were? We should see them that way. Having come inside, why should we give more value to the world? Then the God, then the self, then the peace. Why should we give more value to all this? Because that's what we are learning. That's not real. That is transitory, ephemeral. We have to look within. This is essential. Those are non-essentials. We keep telling this to us often, and the non-essentials frustrate us like that. Not okay. So the resultant of puja, what should be the outcome of regular puja, etc., mind should be clean and calm. There should be peace. And please understand, this is not difficult. It's a matter of staying alert. It is not difficult. Keeping a calm mind is not difficult. The only point here is we are not alert enough. When I am not alert enough, non-essentials will start dominating me. If I am alert, I would never allow non-essentials to dominate. Please remember, spirit should dominate matter. Matter should not dominate spirit. Materialism, worldliness should not dominate. We should be in a position to dominate. Then we are alert. We move in the world, we do not allow the world to take over us. Another simple question to think. Have we not lived long enough to understand this world? Have we not lived long enough? You still believe that you will find happiness in the world? You still think? How long can we be cheated this way? How long? For how many years? No wonder Krishna says with all pride in the chapter 7, my Maya is not easy to cross. Mama Maya Durataya. You may learn, you may fail, you may understand there is no happiness in the world and again fall for it. Again fall for it. How many times? So it's a matter of staying alert to this wisdom, nothing else. Peace is easy if we can remain alert to this wisdom. Only way we can stay alert to this wisdom is regular, daily, intense sadhana. Reminding ourselves. It's not just chanting, it's not just doing arti, or it's not offering buckets of flowers. It is staying alert. We must remain alert. And with that alertness, do japa. Don't rush the japa. Do it leisurely. Even when you do puja, when you want to offer a handful of flowers, do it with alertness, saying, this what I am offering is to get closer to you. That intense. So here Swamiji says, the main use of japa, dhyana and other modes of worship are to win God's grace and the resultant purity of mind. Purity of mind means cleanness and peace of mind on the cessation of its mischievous activities arising out of attachment to sensuous life. When I am attached to something, that will generate thoughts. Please be clear. If I am not attached, the thoughts will not come. Remember, all the thoughts what we have are product of deep, intense attachments. The more I am attached to many things, it is natural for it to cultivate, generate more thoughts. You do not think of that, you are not attached. Very minimum, we will think about that. That which we are attached to, we will go on thinking more and more. The more the mind gets purified, the more it delights in japa and dhyana. Both ways. Japa, dhyana takes you to peace of mind. Mind is calm. You are moving into the world absolutely alert with a calm mind, making sure that you are not going to be disturbed by it. That will in turn make you love to do japa and dhyana again. So he says here, the more the mind gets purified, the more it delights in japa and dhyana. The more japa and dhyana you do, the more calmer the mind becomes. The more calmer the mind becomes, more love for japa dhyana increases. Why? Because this japa dhyana pushed you to yourself, to something which is more authentic within. You are moving towards yourself. That will make you seek more. That's why people who do that would start loving doing japa more and more. Japa, dhyana, etc. The more one's spiritual exercises progress, the more purified one's mind gets. So spiritual effort and mental purity should advance steadily hand in hand. You do japa, you're peaceful, that intensifies, motivates you to do more japa. Let this go this way, hand in hand. Spiritual sadhana brings you to calm mind, and that calm and peaceful mind makes you saying, let me do. Basically, what Swamiji is trying to tell us is cultivate Sattvic habits. They are important. Cultivate Sattvic habits. Because what will take us forward? Sattva guna related. We need to establish in Sattva guna. We can't. Tamas cannot dominate. There would be tamas in everybody, but tamas should not be dominant. We should not be predominantly tamasic. Then spiritual progress is not possible. Rajas cannot dominate. There would be rajoguna, but rajas should not dominate. Everyone, all of us are product of three gunas, tamas, rajas and sattva. But sattva should dominate. There should be minimum rajas, minimum tamas. Everyone would have it. But make sure they do not dominate. Sattva guna dominates. How do I do it? Commit to sattvic activities. What are sattvic activities? Study, reflection, anything related to spirituality, anything related to calming of the mind. All those are sattvic activities. When as a result of long periods of sadhana, this kind of a sadhana, now this paragraph is very beautiful. He says, when as a result of long periods of sadhana, the mind becomes clean, be sure that the realization of the self is not far. Not only Gurudev, even Tapovan Maharaj is making the same promise. Gurudev has said it when it came to study class. When he created a syllabus, he makes this statement that if you follow this study scheme regularly as instructed, this sadhu promises, he says that. Imagine in late 50s and early 60s, he says, this sadhu promises God realization if you follow the study scheme. Because he's sure, he went through that path, he knows about it. If you follow what is being told in those books, they are the guidelines, you follow that regularly, you will get there. Similar thing Tapovan Maharaj is saying. If you practice this, that goal is not far. Please understand this. This is where Shraddha makes a big role. They are not telling this to inspire us. They are talking truth. They are talking truth. It's not that, I am not ready. These are encouraging words. He is encouraging me to move forward. Therefore, he is saying, this is not applicable to me. Don't consider this as encouragement. Consider it as fact. Any one person, anybody who does it will get there. It's a matter of time, how you start and how you do it. But everybody can get there. It is definitely not statements of encouragement. That you are not there, but I am telling you to do this so that you can go a little forward. No. They do not promise realization that way. Why would Swami Tapovan Maharaj do it? Give somebody a false hope? You think Swamiji will do that? These masters will give us a false hope? You are not there, but I am telling you, you do this, you will go a little more, there is a long way for you. No, they don't do it that way. They are honest. honest to the point. It's a statement of fact. If we practice what we discussed today, that goal is not far. But it is up to us to practice. Make sure that the practice goes on. Then we will get there. So here is a very, very assuring statement. When as a result of long periods of sadhanas, the mind becomes clean. Clean in the sense, more peaceful, more calm, more slow. The silence increases more. That the mind becomes clean, be sure realization of the self is not far. I am not writing at length. In my previous letter, I have already dealt with the spiritual exercises to be attempted. He is aware of what he has written earlier. We may not remember. But he is fully aware. He says, I know what I have told you earlier. I don't have to deal with that subject in detail. I'm not writing at length. In my previous letter, I have already dealt with the spiritual exercises to be attempted. Never forget God. That is, even in the giddy whirl of daily duties, remember Him without a break. Never forget God. He's signing off this way. Never forget God. In the world, amidst all duties, even in the giddy whirl of daily duties, remember Him without a break. Prayer is not just doing once in the morning and once in the evening. Prayer is round the clock. It is an attitude. It is a direction. It is a mind change. So never forget God means I can't remember God as I remember Him in my prayer with a particular form. That is not alone. Rest of the time what happens? Only when I'm sitting in prayer, I have the Lord, Ishta Devata, I offer, I pray. That can be only in the morning and evening. It can't be throughout the day. So throughout the day, how do I remember Him? How do I stay alert to God throughout the day? How to remember? I was doing in a small town in Tamil Nadu, Karur, close to Coimbatore, Trichy and Salem. It's close to that. Not well known, textile town, Karur. I was staying 4 days talks or 4 or 5 days talks, and the topic was Hanuman Chalisa. On the third day, the person who's hosting me is asking, Swamiji, you are an atheist? Are you an atheist? No, never before I found a host who would ever ask me a question of that kind. And in his house, I'm staying and the topic is Hanuman Chalisa. I can even understand if it's Ashtavakra Gita or something else. Mandukya Upanishad. Hanuman Chalisa. Are you an atheist? Don't mistake me. Please tell me, are you an atheist? Atheists will wear orange color. They take up sannyas and come and teach. Why that question? Are you an atheist? According to his idea of worship, I don't fit in. You understand? According to his idea of what is worship of God, I don't fit in. Probably his idea of worship is that you must carry an altar with you. Keep it there. Some people do it. I mean, we are not condemning anything, but that's not the only way. and you must do prayer and hand over prasad to everybody. I don't do that. So that's not prayer? Otherwise, so you don't pray? That's one method. Now let us analyze. Is just that doing in the morning and evening is worshipping God? Or how do we remember God throughout the day? He says, look, that paragraph is powerful. When Swamiji says, never forget God, that is even in the giddy whirl of daily duties. Remember Him without a break. How do we do this? Never forget God. In the midst of work, hectic work, giddy, whirl of daily duties, not ordinary. You have lots of work. Duties are so much. In the middle of duties, never forget God. How? It is a mind which needs to understand that this duty, what I do, is divine. The duty, what I am doing, is divine. The people I do the duty for are divine. Unless we are convinced about it, there should be Shraddha. Only then that prayer feeling will come, otherwise it will not come. The intellect should be so clear that this is God. See, we believe in God. Okay. But please verify your belief of God, your concept of God is in line with the scriptures. You may believe something as God, but is it in line with the scriptures? Does Gita approve your idea of God? Do the Upanishads approve your concept of God? Because we can have, everybody can have one idea. But it should be in line with the people who have experienced God and what they have recorded. It should match in that line. So first that we should verify. Is it in line with God? We also have to realize something more. At the primary level of all religions, there are similarities, not at the destination. Let us be clear about it. No, that is subject to interpretation. Whose interpretation? We should not interpret some other book which we do not know. There are people who are authorities in that book. They interpret that you should accept that only. You have not even read the book and you can't say, no, that guy, I think he is interpreting it wrongly. Have you read the book? You read the Bible? You read the Dhammapada? You read the Quran? There are people who have read it. And their interpretation is more valid. Our idea of universalism sometimes is really very tricky. We have not read those books, and then we will say what they are interpreting is wrong. No, they also mean this only, but have you read it? So the Abrahamic concept of God is far away. He is sitting somewhere else. And you will reach there. You understand? Hindu concept is God is here. Right now. In this place. In you, in me. Completely two different versions. God is everywhere. This creation is not different from God. We are making our mind see, feel. An ant is God. A leaf is God. God in Hinduism is here. Right now, here. Existing. That whichever is existing is God. Sat is God. That which is existing. So when we get this idea very clear. God is not far away. So we should understand what kind of a school of thought has influenced our mind. We have a feeling God is far away, then we can't remember Him in daily work. How to remember Him constantly? Because the idea is God is far away. That's quite Abrahamic. The Rishis have not said that way. Rishi says God is here. The Upanishad says God is here. So we should understand the concept of God according to Shastra, what it is. So everything, everywhere is God. So the duty, what I do, is divine. To the person whom I do is divine. If I bring this understanding, God is existing here, then everything I do will be prayer with that understanding. If that understanding is not there, then it doesn't become prayer. Remember God at all times. We need to first be convinced it is here, now, existing. Whatever I do is invoking that person. Then with real heart full of love, affection, devotion, we will serve our duties. We will perform our duties with that feeling. The moment we get into this feeling, I am doing this is my prayer, there are a lot of things will change immediately once this idea comes. This I am doing is my prayer. You know, that very thought, that conviction inside, you know what level of transformation will happen? First and foremost, you will try to improve what you're doing. You will try to improve what you're doing. Why? Because that is God. That is prayer. It can't be third rate. It can't be shabby. We will go and give our best. Because this is prayer. I need to do. This is my prayer. I'm seeking Him. He is present here. Once the mind is fixed on this, the quality of our performance will change. If this feeling is deep in us, excellence will become our habit. Excellence will become our habit. Why? Because everything you do, you will do your best. Yoga, karma sukhaushalam. Performing actions with dexterity itself is yoga. Yoga means that which joins you to God. Yoga means that which connects you to God. Yuj, to join, to connect. Worship is also the same. Yaj, that which connects you to God. Yaga, yoga, yajna, all comes from that connection. So if I'm convinced about it and then we do, every bit what we do will change our life. It's just one chance. That way we can remember the Lord. Otherwise we'll remember only in the morning and the evening. No, that won't work. So every book, every master generally says this. Never forget God, that is even in the midst of giddy whirl of daily duties. Remember Him without a break. Remember Him without a break has to be that only when I see Him here, when I see and feel the presence here, I can invoke Him without break. If I think is far away, this is not Him, we cannot connect with it. So that concept has to go, and make sure that when we teach children also we teach them this clearly. Our idea of God is not somewhere. Our idea of God is here. So that the mind slowly comes, because somewhere we were influenced with this idea that He is far away. Far away. Which is not our thought at all. Which is not approved by the Upanishads. So if we can bring this, then we would make a change. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om
Maheshwaraya तस्मै नमः स्वामी तपोवनाय श्रीसौम्यकाशीशमहेश्वराय तस्मै नमः स्वामी तपोवनाय